Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1, Max Explained. Max was a character that was heavily focused on in Volume 1 of the show. With her falling victim to Vecna and his powers, I thought I'd take a look at Max and break down why Vecna wanted to claim her, how she managed to avoid it, and the future of the character in Volume 2. So let's get into it. Here is Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1, Max Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. I've split this video into 3 parts. Part 1 is focusing on why Vecna chose Max, Part 2 will focus on how Max managed to escape the grasp of Vecna, and the final section, Part 3, will focus on what the character holds in Season 4 Volume 2. Why was Max claimed? Max was a main focus of the show throughout the first 4 or 5 episodes of Volume 1. We saw many people in the town of Hawkins succumbing to the claiming of Vecna, and we soon realized that Max was next in line. Max was the first person to realize that there was something going on in Hawkins, and was the first that brought it to the attention of everybody. It was on the night that Chrissy was taken by Vecna, highlighting the important role that she would eventually go on to play in the season. We saw that Vecna would prey on people who had either done wrong in their past, or felt guilty about something that led to a death, or an event that occurred. With Fred it was the car crash, with Nancy it was Barbara's death, and with Max we saw that it was Billy's death. We saw throughout the show that she was speaking with a therapist, the same therapist that Chrissy and Fred were speaking with, who eventually became victims of Vecna. She was speaking to them about how she was having nightmares and headaches, which we soon realized were symptoms of Vecna being present. The main reason she was seeing a therapist was due to the overbearing guilt that she felt about Billy's death in the shopping mall at the end of Season 3. This was the bridge between Vecna and Max, the one thing that she felt guilty about and would allow Vecna to make a connection. This led her to steer away from her friends and even herself. She was living a closed-off life where she was surrounded by only herself, causing her to be stuck inside of her own mind. We saw this more specifically when it came to Lucas. She once cared so much about him, and they even had a relationship in the past. But we saw her not want to go to his basketball game and support him, and was more than happy to just be on her own. Even though deep down you could see that she did care. She was just blocking everybody out due to the guilt that she felt, the absence that she had from everybody, and the fact that she was keeping the guilt contained to herself, whilst blocking everybody else out, acted as a way for Vecna to be able to cause the suffering, and to be able to latch onto her and start the countdown and process of claiming her. She didn't have the best relationship with Billy throughout the show, and he sacrificed himself for her and her friends to survive against the Mind Flayer. Max just stood there and watched it happen, which now 1 year later has led to an overbearing sense of guilt for his death, and a blame that she now casts upon herself. We saw her experience the symptoms of Vecna being present, and the all-important grandfather clock that only the victims see, marking a countdown of the end for them. She saw it, and when she went to Billy's grave, Vecna entered her mind. We saw him take the form of Billy, and express to her how he knew that she wanted him to die. We know that Vecna was telling the truth, due to the fact that he can actually see inside people's minds, so her guilt is the very thing that caused her to have Vecna to enter. She may not have necessarily wanted Billy to die, but the fact that she questioned whether or not her life would be better without him in it, or is the very reason he did die, is enough for Vecna to deem you as a person worthy of being claimed. How did Max manage to escape? We saw that when Max was inside the Upside Down, and in the nightmare-like state, Vecna started the process of claiming her. However, we soon realized that music was something that was able to allow her to open a gateway to be able to get back to reality. We saw the group in the real world put some headphones on her, play her favorite song, which aligned with her quite literally running to get back into reality. We know that music was something that would work, due to Nancy joining the dots together after speaking with Victor Creel. Whilst this was happening, we saw Max channeling happy memories of her with her friends, which is something that we know is Vecna's weakness. I think the music is something that triggers happy memories, and that is the most powerful thing, more so than the music itself. Not only did we see this with Max, but we also saw it with Eleven when she was looking back at the memory of her mother when she was battling Number 1 in the finale. It then eventually allowed her to channel her powers and defeat Number 1. Vecna channels his powers from sad memories and anger, which we saw him state in the form of Number 1 when he was talking to Eleven. This is the opposite to what was needed for Max to break free from his hold. We also saw her slice Vecna, which triggered him to drop her and allow her to break free from being tied up. This then allowed her to run through the portal that we saw, which then led her back to reality and allowed her to be with the group again. The future of Max. Once Max was back in reality, we saw her manage to outlive the clock that was counting down to her death and manage to claim everybody else. She did this by essentially creating a looped version of her favorite song and having it on replay all throughout the day and constantly listening to it. This is due to the fact that it's what essentially saved her when she was close to losing it in the Upside Down. This acted as a barricade which stopped Vecna from being able to enter her mind, due to the fact that she constantly had the song on replay and didn't allow the room for thought or space for Vecna to be able to enter. The guilt that she had definitely hasn't gone away and is something that is still ingrained within her. However, she needed to continue to listen to the song in order to keep Vecna at bay. We didn't see Vecna show as much interest in Max towards the end of the season, but that's because we dipped out of that timeline and focused more on the origin story of Vecna. However, we did see the gateway open up between the Upside Down and the reality in Eddie's trailer, which is a place where I feel we'll see her enter in Volume 2. We saw that when she was at the Creel house in the Upside Down, it made Vecna weaker due to the fact that the Creel house almost acts as a place for Vecna's mind, with Max being the only person to come face to face with Vecna in that specific form, in his own territory, and manage to walk away. She holds the most information about how to survive Vecna's grasp and live to see another day. Max's information aligned with Nancy now knowing the origin of him being Henry Creel, and also 11 defeating him when he was number 1. It could all act as a wealth of information when they all eventually meet up again in Season 4 Volume 2. I think Max will be a key part to the demise of Vecna, and we'll see it come to fruition in the final 2 episodes. So, there you have it, Max's arc from Season 4 Volume 1 explained. If you want to see a whole bunch of other Stranger Things content, such as Volume 1 ending explained, or theories and predictions about Volume 2, or even a breakdown of the character Vecna, then hit the I button in the top corner. Or alternatively, you can head over to the channel where there's a specific Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 1 playlist. If you want to suggest another TV show or movie for me to cover, then feel free to head over to my Twitter @brainpilot_ and tweet me a suggestion. What do you think is in store for Max in Season 4 Volume 2? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.